Let's begin with Chapter 23 on Consumer Rights and Responsibilities. This is continuing Unit 8 on Buying Goods and Services. Section 23.1 focuses on consumer rights, and our objective for this section are to describe the 7 protections that are included in the Consumer Bill of Rights. This is modeled after the United States Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. All right, so imagine that you just bought a new iPod or a new MP3 player, and the first time you play it, you don't hear anything. So the good news is that you have rights as a consumer, and these rights protect you when a product is defective. And again, as we go through this particular chapter, remember that the focus is from an American standpoint. So these are talking about your consumer rights and responsibilities in the United States. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy outlined what he called the Consumer Bill of Rights. And at the time, there were 4 basic consumer rights: the right to be informed, the right to choose, the right to safety, and the right to be heard. These rights received a lot of attention from the consumer movement, a movement to pass laws protecting consumers from unfair and unsafe business practices. Over the years, 3 other rights were added: the right to have problems corrected, the right to consumer education, and the right to service. So let's address the 7 rights, and we'll go kind of in order from the first original 4 and then the 3 new ones. So the first one is the right to be informed. As a consumer, you have a right to receive accurate information. Consumers can make wise decisions only if they have the information they need. Businesses are required to provide certain details about their products. For example, drug companies must list the complete contents of every medicine and possible side effects. Clothing manufacturers must list the fibers used in the materials because you may be allergic to some of the fibers. Packaged foods must show all ingredients with the main one listed first and then the ingredients decreasing from there. So the second ingredient listed will be the second most common ingredient in that item. Companies provide this information through product labeling. The second right is the right to choose. Because the United States has a market economy, its consumers can choose from a wide variety of goods and services. Businesses compete with each other to sell their products to consumers. They offer new products, lower prices, higher quality, or improved services to get you to choose their products. Competition provides choices, and a lack of it hurts customers. The federal government has the power to keep markets competitive. It can use antitrust laws to break up monopolies or keep them from forming. Sometimes it will prevent a large company from buying a smaller one if the purchase would lead to control of a market. So the government is there to help make sure that the market stays competitive. All right, the third right is the right to safety. You have a right to products that are safe to use. Product liability is the legal responsibility that manufacturers have to make a safe product. For example, tools and appliances must include safety devices for your protection. Federal laws ensure that clothing, food, toys, and other items will not harm consumers. And the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission enforces product safety standards. Oftentimes, if a company has been made aware that their product is not safe, they will issue a recall, which means you bring in your product and they will replace it or refund it if they can't replace it. The fourth right is the right to be heard. Consumers who have complaints about products or services have a right to be heard. Suppose you buy a bike helmet from a sporting goods store. After wearing the helmet a few times, you find the chin strap keeps coming loose. You have the right to let the store know you are not satisfied with the helmet. Businesses rely on customer satisfaction. The purpose of the customer service department is to listen to the concerns of the customers. And then the new ones. So the first new right was the right to have problems corrected. Sometimes products do not work properly work properly after they are purchased. Usually, if a customer takes a defective item back to the store with a receipt, the business will replace it or issue a refund. If a business cannot or will not correct a problem, consumers can write to the manufacturer to find out how to get the matter resolved. If the manufacturer will not help, a government agency might be your next step if you think you're in the right. All right, the sixth right is the right to consumer education. Consumers have the right to learn about how a market system works. You should know how to get the best value and satisfaction for your money. When you decide to buy an item, you should know that the different stores might charge different prices. You should know how to comparison shop to find the best buy. Check information required by law on labels and read fact sheets about the product. There are always some businesses that do not operate in the best interest of the consumer. Some might try a tactic known as the bait and switch. Bait and switch is a sales tactic in which buyers are tempted by an advertised bargain, but are then persuaded to buy a more expensive item instead. Usually, the company will tell you that the item you're interested in is no longer available, that it was a limited quantity. This happens a lot with cars, with automobiles. And the final right is the right to service. Customers have a right to be treated in a respectful and courteous manner. You have the right to expect prompt delivery of goods or services that meet the standard of quality a business claims. You also have the right to be served without discrimination on the basis of your race, gender, income, or age. These rights apply wherever you are being served. Let's go ahead and move on to section 23.2, which is on consumer responsibilities. With great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man taught us. Our objective here for this particular section is to describe the responsibilities of consumers. What are we supposed to do? Along with the rights comes responsibilities, and as a consumer, you have the responsibility to educate yourself. If information about a product is available, you have the responsibility to read that information and to use the product the way it is intended. Think of how many times we make an update to some app or program or whatever in our computer, and we don't ever actually read the paperwork that comes with it. We all just scroll down to the bottom and say agree. I'm just as guilty as y'all are. All right, so the first responsibility is the responsibility to be informed. Responsible consumers know what they are buying. When you shop for food, read the label for nutritional facts. Product labels can tell you how much salt, sugar, fat, or protein a product contains. When you shop for clothes, read the labels to find out what materials they contain. The labels will also indicate how the clothes should be cleaned so as not to ruin them. Before making a major purchase, you should always do some homework, as we talked about in Chapter 22. Some consumers read the fact sheets from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. The fact sheets tell how a product is rated on safety, performance, and value. There is also lots of information on the internet. Read consumer magazines such as Consumer Reports and Consumers Research Magazine, which evaluate and rate products. Most consumer organizations and manufacturers have websites. J.D. Power and Associates is a leading market research and consumer information firm. You can check out their website for more information. You also have the responsibility to choose carefully. Responsible consumers make comparisons to find the best product or service at the best price. Which electronics company offers the best guarantee? Which cars have the best record for reliability? Which computer will fit your budget and your needs? It pays to take time to make comparisons, especially if it's a big purchase. You can examine the options and the prices and then make an educated choice. Also, many consumer choices can affect the environment. Some vehicles emit more exhaust than others. Some materials, such as certain plastics, cannot be recycled and do not decompose easily. Illegal dumping can harm natural habitats. All of these things contribute to pollution, which is the contamination of air, water, and land. Pollution is caused by waste from products as well as the way we use them. People and businesses must help to reduce it by making choices that are good for the environment. As the population grows, the demand for resources increases. So, excuse me. Conservation is the process of preserving, protecting, and planning the management of resources. For example, as more people move into an area, the demand for water rises. I've noticed this moving into the village where all of the teachers live pretty much. Some areas may experience water shortages. We did that for a while. Consumers should be aware of the limited supplies of certain resources and adjust their consumption accordingly. Recycling. Part of the conservation is learning to avoid waste. Consumers can help by reducing, reusing, and recycling materials in their daily lives. Recycling involves collecting products for processing so that they can be used again. Many cities have programs to collect products made of paper, plastic, metal, and glass for recycling. And I'm glad to see that Korea is one of the best countries I've seen on recycling. The next responsibility is the responsibility to use products safely. Consumers must follow the instructions provided in product manuals or other materials on the safe use of products. For example, a consumer must read the label of a cold remedy medicine to find out its recommended dosage. If you know a product is unsafe, first contact the seller or producer about it. If no action is taken by the company, contact a consumer protection agency. So again, you have to follow the instructions. If you use your product in a way it was not intended for and something happens to it or to you, it's your responsibility, not the company's. All right, and then we have the responsibility to speak out. Responsible consumers can help improve the policies and products of the businesses where they shop. They can let a company know if they are dissatisfied with its products or policies. Consumers also have a responsibility to report unfair, unsafe, and illegal business practices. This helps to protect other consumers from problems. If you object to a company's policies or products, you could organize a boycott, which is a refusal to buy its goods or services. Boycotting is usually a last resort for consumers who have not received an adequate response for the company. I actually participate in boycotts quite frequently. I am currently boycotting Walmart. I do not go to Walmart because I do not think their policies on how they treat their employees are fair. I also do not go to Chick-fil-A because I do not agree with their policies of the owner of Chick-fil-A and his stance against equal marriage. Those are some big topics currently happening in the United States, and so I do my little part. It's not having a huge impact, of course, but it's my part. I don't feel like I want to spend my money on places that don't meet my social responsibilities. So there you go. All right, the next responsibility is to seek a remedy. A remedy is a solution. Part of being a good consumer is getting the best value for your money. You have a responsibility to seek a remedy for a defective product. If you plan to exchange an item or get a refund, you must bring back the item, the receipt, and any warranties or guarantees that it came with. If the store cannot solve the problem to your satisfaction, you should contact the manufacturer or consumer organization for help. So the responsibility to learn consumer skills. All of this is a process. Find information to help you make consumer decisions. It is a bit overwhelming to think of researching every purchase before it is made. However, there are several ways to develop your consumer skills. Read information on labels and packages. Compare prices at different stores and look for sales. Pay attention to the media to become aware of illegal practices. Read consumer information publications. Attend classes or workshops on consumer issues and problems. Many purchases that you will make will not require any research. Still, remember that the more informed you are about products and services, the better your decisions will be. And that is it for Chapter 23.